watch it rise again. Our past losses motivation to inspire our future gain. We are proud to be Métis, watch our nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadians. We are proud to be Métis, watch our nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadians.
Please take a seat. Danse! Kiawao, Dushunakashan, Jordan Wanch, Nia Métis. Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan Wanch. I am Métis and a proud member of Métis Nation, British Columbia. Welcome to the 2025 MNBC AGM. I am grateful and honored to be the MC for this weekend, and we have a lot in store for you. But before we begin, we'd like to start off in a good way. So please welcome Elder Alec Dan from the Musqueam Nation, who will start us off.
Before I start, I just want to make it clear I'm not an elder yet. I'm only 51 years old. Thank you, thank you. You know, it's such an honor for me to be here with you this afternoon to, welcome you here to our traditional unceded territory. Welcome you here to your conference that's going to be taking place in these next few days. You know, when we hear visitors coming into our territory, we used to come together as a whole community to meet and greet our visitors at the mouth of our river, what is called the Fraser River today. And, you know, from the youngest to the oldest, we would come together as a whole community. And our unceded territory is what we call the Greater Vancouver area today, as far as Port Moody, Coquitlam, Surrey, Delta, all the way west to Richmond, Tsawwassen, Vancouver, and as far as Horseshoe Bay on the North Shore Mountains. And the North Shore Mountains, you know, we're lucky. We're rich, you know, with land. You know, sad thing it was, you know, taken from us, but you know, being the stewards of the land and the water, and working with you know, our visitors that have, you know, been coming here the past couple hundred years or so, you know, working to make sure that those natural resources are there, you know, and to further introduce myself, a descendant of hereditary chief named Similano, and he was with us in the late 1800s, and he's my great-great-grandfather on my mother's side. And he ended up residing in what is now called New Westminster, and sadly got pushed out of there. Him and his family and supporters pushed out of that village, moved across the river to another village called Kikate, and we know it as the Surrey side of the Patello Bridge today. And where the village that he resided in, New Westminster, was close to what is called the Brunette River today in New Westminster. So just to introduce myself and let you know who I am as a Musqueam proud member, you know, and it's always an honor to be the voice to start, you know, off in a wonderful good way, you know, and really thank you guys for coming together, you know, taking care of your nation, your people. You know, we're so lucky and fortunate that we have all of our, you know, designated leaders, I guess you could say, spokespersons, you know, ones that'll be our voices, you know, and ones that'll be there to work with the government of what is called Canada today, and British Columbia, and, you know, the other provinces and territories, you know. thank you for taking time out of your lives to be there for the community in you know, in a whole, you know, leaving your families at home and coming together and being the voice for your community, you know. I want to share a welcome song, and there's words in the song, and it's in our language that we speak, the Hunkaminam language that we speak, and the words translate to welcome respected ones. So with that, I'll sing our welcome song at this time. Haichkasiyam. So once again, on behalf of the Musqueam people, descendants of Musqueam ancestors, our friends and relatives from Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, Tawasin nations, really welcome you here to our traditional unceded territory, what we call the Greater Vancouver area today. Really enjoy your time here and safe travels back home to your family and loved ones. Thank you once again.
On behalf of all of us, I'd like to say hi hi, marci, gananaskomten.
Thank you very much for sharing your welcome, Alec Dan. We raise our hands to you. Okay. All my relations. Next, please welcome for our opening prayer, Senator Edkins and Senator Gladue, who will be doing the prayer in two parts, starting with Senator Edkins.
I notice as the years go by, the steps seem to be getting a little higher. There's a lot of familiar faces out here today. Good to see you all. Les longs gématifs, les noms pas été mistinasques. Mon projet est doué un boireau. Sang de mon sang, fil et offier. Je trouve goupe sous. Mon toit devant ancêtre. Soivez la tracesse, témoreau fidèle et élève-toi. Concevez la loussage. Lassez, jeudi pour voyous. Gardez surtout votre œil en la language. What I said to you in English was, Chief, my name and the chief of my family is Indigenous, the badger. The prayer was a prayer given down from my family a few years ago. In English, it says, "Blood of my blood, sons and daughters of my race who are gathered under this roof today, follow in the footsteps of your ancestors. Remain obedient to the faith, preserve the customs left to you, and above all, keep your language."
Tanse, Dotimak, how are you, my friends? I'm going to say a prayer in one of our languages. As you heard, the language of just spoken there, that's one of them. And the language that I speak is the Northern Cree Machif. So I'm going to say an opening prayer and a welcome to all of you here today. It's wonderful to see a good turnout here today for the occasion. And, I just want to say before I say the prayer, how far we've come here in British Columbia with the Métis building since it started. This room is full right now. In those days, we had 2 little carloads that I can remember. And what I see today, wonderful. Feels so good. See a lot of our young ones that are leading our way today. And a lot of us older ones are behind to support that. And for me, that's my passion. My passion to support the people that need maybe a direction, maybe need a little bit of knowledge of our history. But we've come a long way, so keep up the good work, and I will say an opening prayer now. Just bear with me and say a prayer in your own language, the best way you know how, so that things will work out good for us today and tomorrow, and moving on to our homes, that we fully exercise our respect with one another, no matter what takes place. That's who we are. We need to respect each other. And when things don't go right, where do you go? You look at your elders. They will direct you to a direction where it's healthy. So I just want to leave you with that, and I'll say a prayer now. Anoftawi, asami no mo takakio, kap mo asagami kapoya, kumdutamatnan, kap sawimia, omota kap mitahamiksia, sawim kakio, ogotakani poto, iguawasak, iguanekmina kap mam tuni manawak. Koyasko tinigan ti so pigeto. Hana moso, kista kenas komt nanoska isiga. Ksnochtainan. Koyasko ti kakegi goi tap mitotama. Koyasko tinigan kakegi goi tap msitoskatama, tap msitoskatoya. Koyas tisumyopaya kakegi goi. Thank you, mercy, may good kenas komt now. Aho. Thank you.
Gitayak, Tanse, Gitatamskat Nawal, greetings. I just want to give recognition and respect to both of you. I've been asked to give you stema, tobacco, in our way. So I want to say hi, Marcy, and Kinanas Komtinawal. Oh.
Así te pueden.
Marcy, Senator Edkins, and Gladue for sharing your prayers, your language, and your medicine. Up next, please give a warm welcome for our guests. It will be the Member of Parliament, Jamie Schmale, representing the Leader of the Opposition.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I am Jamie Schmale, so I'm a Member of Parliament for the riding of Haliburton-Kawartha Lakes, and that's in Ontario. Please don't hold that against me. I do enjoy coming to events like this, especially to meet with the Métis Nation of British Columbia. Always so welcoming, always so gracious and engaging in conversation, whether we agree or not. It's always a pleasure to do that. And of course, when I get these invites, I think I'm more afraid to say no to Colette than anything. So I think I just keep coming. But to Madam Vice President, your Board of Directors, the Senate, the senior staff, the youth, and all the citizens in here, thank you. It is very, very welcoming to be here. I usually give remarks off the top of my head based on my feelings of the day, but I am here on behalf of the Leader of Canada's Official Opposition, Pierre Poilievre, so I do have words I actually have to read. Paul, my legislative director, writes speeches for me all the time. Usually I don't read them, so sorry, Paul. You do wonderful work, and I do appreciate everything you do. So he brings this message. Hello to everyone gathered for this year's Métis Nation of British Columbia Annual General Meeting. I'd like to offer my thanks to the Métis Nation for all the work you do on behalf of Métis people. I also want to send my best wishes to everyone who has gathered to shape and chart the course of your future. It is often said that history does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes, and we can learn a lot from our past to help guide our collective future. We know from history that prosperity does not come from standing still. The Métis have known this throughout your history. Long before discussions and conflicts over trade between Canada and the US, Métis traveled across the vast expanse of this land to buy and sell goods. You built communities and passed it down, the traditions that bind us with our past. It took inventiveness, determination, and strength. These are the values that guide us to build a Canada that is richer and stronger for all. Our futures on this land are intertwined, but working together should not mean your life is run from above. Conservatives believe that you should be in control of your lives and your destiny, free to empower your communities and to preserve your traditions. Let us build a Canada that doesn't just sacrifice to survive today, but fights to thrive tomorrow, where good-paying jobs and affordable homes help raise the next generation. A Canada that is the envy of the world, where our people are the richest, safest, and freest on earth. That's from Pierre Poilievre, the new Member of Parliament for Battle River Crowfoot, also the Leader of Canada's Official Opposition. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, MP Schmale. Please give a warm welcome to Acting President Melanie Allard.
Hello, everyone. Wow, what a big day for us today. So, Tanshe, I am Métis Nation BC's Acting President, Melanie Allard. I want to open up this AGM today in circle to acknowledge that each of us have a place here and a responsibility to each other. And before we begin, I would like to thank all our delegates and our guests. Thank you to the Musqueam First Nations for your presence here and hosting us on your territory so we can gather in a good way. Thank you to Senator Edkins and Gladue for your powerful opening prayer. And thank you to Prime Minister Mark Carney and Premier David Eby, BC Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation Spencer Herbert, and to Member of Parliament Jamie Smale. Thank you. Merci to all of you for taking the time to be here today. Your presence makes this meeting possible and allows us to begin this gathering with hearts full of gratitude. I also want to thank each and every one of our citizens for attending, whether you're joining us online or here in person. Thank you for your participation. Together, we continue to strengthen our nation. I want to acknowledge that we begin our AGM under challenging circumstances. Métis Nation BC's Executive Committee recently made a difficult decision to suspend Walter Minot from his role as president of MMBC, pending an independent review. This decision was made out of fairness and consideration for Mr. Minot and is consistent with MMBC's due process and policies. As the board of directors is elected by MMBC citizens, we have an obligation to follow and uphold MMBC's laws and policy. A failure to do this means that the board members can be in breach of duty. So we must act with accountability and integrity to the mandate we've been given. I want to make it very clear, Mr. Minot has not been removed from his role as president. We await the results of the independent review, at which point Mr. Minot will either be reinstated as president or removed. The results of the review will be made publicly when they become available. While we understand this period of uncertainty is challenging for everyone, we all know we are making the right decision by getting all the information. It is important to have a complete picture before any lasting decisions are made. Even though we face this difficult circumstance, we must not lose sight of our purpose. This weekend, our opportunity to come together carries a deep meaning and possibility. I am so proud to share that MMBC now represents 30,000 registered citizens, and our number continues to grow every year. Every year. Every new citizen joining our nation is being welcomed home, both here at MMBC and through the incredible chartered communities. That's you guys. We can't do it without you. Through healing circles, educational funding, cultural language workshops, housing developments, and gardening programs, and more. Métis are connecting, reconnecting, and contributing to our nation. As a grandmother, which I'm so proud of, it is a huge source of pride that my grandchildren are growing up swallowed in our Métis culture. They know who they are, and they know they belong to a community that stretches all across the regions of this province, a community that includes all of you. So as we come together this weekend, we have a chance to work towards giving our children something too many of us have never had. We have the opportunity, a sense of real belonging starting in childhood and even from birth. We have the opportunity to remove the barriers so our children don't have to struggle the way the generations of leaders did. And what a gift for all of us to be deeply rooted in the strength of our culture, our brilliance, our resilience, and our innovation. It is these strengths that we need to draw upon. MMBC is an exciting season of renewal and recommitment. Over the last year, our nation has experienced a lot. The 39 chartered communities democratically voted to leave the Métis National Council, which was a big one for us. We saw a new Prime Minister take office, and ongoing tariffs continue to impact many of our businesses and families. Yet with all this change comes opportunity. We are more committed than ever to meeting our priorities and building up our partnerships, because we know what's at stake for our people, and that's why we are working tirelessly, planting seeds strategically, seeds we know will grow strong for generations to come. These seeds are our nation's priorities. We are determined to achieve self-government recognition from Canada and to make sure our inherited Métis Section 35 rights under the Canadian Constitution are recognized. That is our goal. Thank you. Our path to self-determination means prioritizing economic development. We are partnering with industry, Crown corporations, and a strategic way that will reduce our reliance on the government funding and keep us in a position of strength. To do this, we are exploring sectors such as real estate, non-medical healthcare, and renewable energy. We know so many of our people are experiencing financial concerns. We are committed to building affordable housing to relieve some of the pressure facing too many individuals and families. We have created a comprehensive housing strategy to meet with the local needs of communities across all regions, with a focus on communities that have been traditionally underserved. And we are committed to bring our children home. We are actively pursuing jurisdiction over our children in care, and we are making real progress through a new networking group established with the provincial government and the Ministry of Children and Family Development. Our children should always have an opportunity to grow up in culture, which is why we are committed to supporting language and cultural initiatives. And because we are stronger together, MMBC is working on creating lasting relationships to strengthen and unify our nation. This includes relationships with other Métis governments, First Nations, and industry partners. We continue to work productively with the federal government. Leaving the Métis National Council presented us with challenges, but it also created a significant opportunity for us to establish stronger relationships with Canada on our own terms. Yeah, that's a big one. We have developed a strategy to secure direct funding agreements. We are advocating for ministry-specific issues, such as multi-year healthcare support through the Indigenous Health Equity Fund, and engaging with the official opposition to ensure that Métis perspectives are included, as the Conservative Party of Canada holds the new federal government accountable. On the provincial level, we continue to reach important milestones. Last year, the Cabinet endorsed the Métis Justice Strategy, and we are working closely with the province on implementation to reduce the overrepresented Métis people in our justice system. During the summer MNGA, the province's Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation, Christina Boyle, endorsed the terms of reference of our BC Métis relationship table, which moves us closer to being on the same page. And in June, MMBC CEO Colette Trudeau presented our 2026-2027 provincial budget submission. Sorry. This includes a request for our children and families, education, economic development ministries. This means we can address our own priorities. The jurisdiction of our children in care, close to my heart, enabling us to provide wraparound Métis citizens accessing post-secondary education and training, and pursuing economic development opportunities. As we continue to work together, our many partners in government and industry, I am optimistic about the opportunities ahead of us. This optimism is no small part, thank you, to our partnerships with the 39 Métis chartered communities all across the province. Again, without you, we are nothing. These communities are our grassroots, are foundational for so many of our citizens. I want to recognize the efforts that these communities and their leaders keep making to ensure that every Métis in BC has a place of belonging. I encourage all present today to please connect with your local charity communities if you haven't already. I know they will welcome you with open arms. These connections matter deeply to our citizens and to all of us at MMBC. And staying connected means that we can work together. This season of renewal means that we have to think strategically and plan carefully. By planting our seed with intention and by strengthening our roots, by focusing on what really matters to us, we can make sure that we're setting us up for a fruitful future. One that continues to bear benefits, not just for us, but for our children and for our grandchildren. I believe what we create here will nourish our ancestors too. Let us remember them, watching over us, encouraging us to move forward in a good way. Our work is legacy work. Marcy, thank you, and let us have a productive and peaceful gathering. Thank you all for being here.
Marcy, President Allard. Up next, there's a special announcement. We don't do this every AGM. The Region 5 Regional Governance Council appointed Auditor Lucier to another term in Senate. At the request of the Senate, a swearing-in ceremony will now be held. Senator Lucier, if you could please come up to the altar.
You're right, these stairs are high.
Way to go, Arnold.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're in the process of trying to change the oaths around, but it hasn't been passed yet, so we'll read out the old one. I will read it, and when I come to the place where your name is to be entered in, I will ask you to say, "I will." As an appointed member of the Senate for the Métis Nation of British Columbia, I, Arnold Lucier,
Arnold Lucier,
will acquire and be privy to information which is intended to be confidential, is not to be revealed, disclosed, published, or disseminated to third persons and or individuals. And I confirm and I agree that I shall treat all confidential information as such and confidential. I shall not disclose to any third party or to use it for any purpose whatsoever during and subsequent to my term of office. I will be faithful to the Métis citizens, Métis communities, and the Métis Nation of British Columbia. I will uphold and defend the Constitution of the Métis Nation of British Columbia. I will carry out my duties, obligations, and responsibilities in a manner that will bring honor to the Métis. I will dedicate my service to treat all Métis people equally. I accept my responsibility to be of service to my people and to honor our future and our children ahead of myself. I swear this to the Métis people and our Creator this 19th day of September at Richmond in the province of British Columbia. How say you, Senator Lucier?
I will.
Thank you.
He's running away. I just want to acknowledge Senator Lucier, and you know what? We are so honored to have you, and thank you so very much. I was there when you were getting elected last night, and I'm very happy for you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, folks. We'd also take a moment to acknowledge Senator Gladue as well, and Al has a couple words to share here.
I bet you're tired of seeing me, aren't you? This is a rather emotional moment. I have to take you back to March the 7th, 2007, when Phil and I sat to the first meeting of the Senate. He's been a stalwart and a friend ever since. He's the heart and soul of the philosophy of the Métis Nation. This letter reads, to the President, Cabinet, and citizens of the Métis Nation of British Columbia, Tanse. With a heart full of gratitude and respect, I'm writing to formally resign from my role as Senator for Region 2, Lower Mainland, with the Métis Nation of British Columbia, effective be September the 22nd. It has been an honor to serve our people in this capacity, to carry out our Métis ways with humility and to uphold the responsibilities entrusted to the Senate. Through ceremony, mediation, guidance, and the upholding of our citizenship and government processes, I've sought to walk gently yet firmly in the footsteps of those who came before us. Serving as a Senate representative, I have witnessed the strength of our people and the strength of our ways, offering opening and closing prayers in communities, conducting swearing-in ceremonies, supporting natural resources and citizenship appeals, and helping to navigate disputes with respect and dignity. These responsibilities are sacred, and I've held them with care. My decision to step down was not made lightly. As I move into a new chapter in my life, I do so with the knowledge that our nation is in good hands, growing, thriving, and guided by the teachings of our elders and knowledge carriers. I will continue to walk alongside our people, supporting where I can and always holding our nation close to my heart. Merci to the Métis Nation of British Columbia for the trust placed in me, and to my fellow senators and leaders for your companionship and shared commitments to our future. With all my relations, Senator Philip Gladue, Region 2, Lower Mainland, Métis Nation of British Columbia. God bless you.
Another round of applause for Senator Gladue.
Thank you so much. Okay. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. And you know, that feels so good coming from you people. The work that you do and continue doing, you know, just keep up the work that you do. But, you know, I wouldn't be standing here and doing the work that I do if it wasn't for one more person. And my wonderful wife over there, Betty. Yeah, she's been strong to, I guess, keep me strong to do the work that I need to do. You know, it takes more than one to do any kind of work, especially when you talk about families. In my heart, the woman in our families is our foundation. Let's not forget that. And I'm speaking to the men. Without the woman, we wouldn't have a strong leadership skills without somebody holding us up. And I've learned that through our culture, because the women are the matriarchs, and we need to remember that. Because, you know, when a family breaks down, who you think is going to keep that family together? Is the woman. I always say it this way to the kids in schools. Who's the strongest in your family? You know, hands goes up. You know what the answer is when they say it? My dad. But that's totally opposite from our cultural worldviews. It's the woman. And I always say, when you have a toothache or an earache at night, who'd you go see? My mom. Even as a kid, we know where our safety is and the strongest support. I just want to stress that out. Don't forget the woman in our cultures. We need them to keep us up as men. So I just want to share that. That's one of our values as Métis people. When you look at the culture values, and we come from both worlds, they're both wonderful. But there's no balance here. And that's what we need to exercise, that balance within our own families. And that's what I see on a table today with the Métis. They're starting to come together, holding up them two world values. Let's balance them too. They're both good. So thank you for supporting me all these years. Some of the older people that at the time are no longer around. But you know, their kids and their families are here. And we need to keep supporting those families. The kids, so they can be strong Métis people. Understand who they are, where they come from. And it's up to us to be able to walk with them in a gentle way. And what I really want to stress, you know what? We live in two worlds. We need politics. That's part of us today. But let not forget where we come from. That is the one that's going to hold us together. Because politics tears us apart. It doesn't matter what culture. Politics will tear us apart if we don't know how to use it. We got to respect it and respect it to one another. But what will always bring us together in a strong way is the culture, no matter what culture. Leave the politics to the side and use it when we need it to teach our children how to be strong within their own identity. So with that, I'm not trying to give a real lecture, but I'm trying to send a message. I'm trying to send a message, okay? So anyway, and I'll see you around. I'm not leaving. I'm not going too far, but I'll always be around. So I want to thank you for all your support all these years, all of you. Thank you. You know, this lady, I met her dad quite a long time ago, and her grandpa, Old Smoky. He was quite a man. He was a strong Métis guy when we started in BC, way back when. When we started, actually the first movement in BC for Métis people, we weren't recognized here in BC. When we challenged it in the provincial council, we had a little caravan coming from northeast of BC to do that. It was a big, long story, but I'm not going to go through the whole story. But anyway, her grandpa was on the board at that time. And you can't get through this guy unless, you know, and he was a strong man. And yeah, I'll never forget Old Smoky. He was one of our leaders in those days. So I just want to say that here in front of all these people, how long your family's been around. Yeah, so thank you.
Merci, Senator Gladue. You left a great legacy, especially with the senators you sit with, and built a foundation for the ones to come. He's still alive. Also, it's great to hear acknowledging Betty as well. Are we ready for some more good news? The Region 2 Regional Governance Council also appointed another senator that will be sworn in at a later date. And we'd like to take a moment to acknowledge Lisa Shepherd. Somewhere out there. Oh, she's up there. Well, it looks like we're ready for an AGM, I think. Well, I don't, Dean always. So I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge our sponsors who have made this possible. The Community Services Benefits Trust, the Canada Institute for Health Information, Access Insurance, Allegra Printing, CN Rail, Westward Insurance, Scotiabank, C-SPAN, Data Sentinel, Castles, Manning Elliott, Fortis BC, and Richmond BC Business Events. A lot of great sponsors. Now, before we hand things over to the clerk, a little bit of housekeeping. Just want a reminder out there that there is a health fair going on as well. You could get some testing done or arranged. Please go check it out and see everybody at the stands there. This year we have massage therapy students that will be available starting tomorrow, so please book a spot at the info desk or the health fair. There's also a trade show where Métis artists are vending. A lot of great artists out there, so please support them. It's been a tough year economically, and I'm sure they would love your support if you can. Regarding meals, if anybody has allergies or food restrictions and can't eat the food that is available, please talk to a banquet staff and they'll get you a separate dish, all right? So everybody's taken care of. And lastly, for anyone requiring mental health support, we have 2 workers available in the Richmond A room. So that's mental health support in the Richmond A room. And for those on Zoom, we have 1 worker available named Yana, all right? And one last thing, there was a cell phone found. You can find it at the IT desk if you're missing a cell phone, all right? Without further ado, this was a fantastic start to our weekends. Bring your hands together for all those involved and yourselves. Merci. And now we turn it over to the AGM clerk, Nicole Ludwig.
Merci, Jordan. Tawau ni tu timak. Nicole Ludwig, Dishinikashon, Apita Kosan Isku, Bowen Island, Ochinia, Makaketsi Askie, Kwantlen Askie, Apita Kosan Ochinaska Ocean, Golden Years Métis Society. Niwa Kotin Miko Sipie, Nitsanak Berard Breland, Moreau Delorme Ikwa, Perot. With apologies to the Northern Michif speakers. Greetings and welcome, everyone. My name is Nicole Ludwig. I am a Métis woman. I grew up on Bowen Island, and I now make my home on the traditional and unceded territories of the Katzie and Kwantlen First Nations, and the chosen home of my community, the Golden Years Métis Society. My family comes from the Red River, and my family names include Berard, Berland, Moreau, Delorme, and Perot. Quite likely. It is my privilege to serve my nation as the clerk for the 2025 MNBC Annual General Meeting. I'd just like to point out a few people, a few deputies who are helping me out here. To my right is Judith Naji, who is indispensable. She will be monitoring Zoom and displaying the voting outcomes, and has also made it possible that we can actually give you printed versions of them to take with you. Over at the AV table is Barinder Lally, who is our Board Operations Manager at MNBC, and she is going to be tracking all the amendments that you would like to move with the motions. And next to her is Laura McKay, also a Métis Two-Spirit woman, and she will be monitoring Zoom and helping out. And they are all indispensable to this process. So, before we get started, we're gonna have a little fun. Everybody who is over 18 should have a voting device. And so we're gonna do a practice run. If you don't have one, we'll get you sorted out with citizenship and community engagement. They can register you, and they'll help you out at the tables outside. So we have a test question for you, and I'll ask Deputy Lally to display that on the screen. For the folks online, you should be seeing a poll. Yes? All right. So after this, I think we'll know who our friends are. Resolved. that pineapple is a legitimate pizza topping? You may now cast your votes if you have a voting device. Use the A or 1 button for yes, the B or 2 button for no, and the C or 3 if you wish to abstain. Please cast your votes. Could we get it zoomed in? Thank you. It's not centered now. They'll fix it. So what you're voting on is whether you agree that pineapple is a legitimate pizza topping. That's a good question. I was just asked if how we know if it worked. All right, how are we doing? I think we're done. We'll close the voting. And we'll get the results up on the screen. And I think we'll know. Mr. Allard, President Allard, I think you have a conflict of interest on that with your pizza business. And it is excellent pizza. I'm just saying. How are we doing? Apologies for the delay. We're doing math, and this is why we do test votes. You're good to go? Okay. All righty. So we have 114 in favor, 26 opposed, and 9 abstained. I have found my people. We'll have another test question tomorrow. And I think with that, we'll get started. The bylaws require that we need 36 citizens present to have a quorum, and I confirm that we have more than 36 citizens here. We also have a number of people online, so welcome to everybody. Yep, we're just waiting. All right, so first up is the nomination and election of chairs. Past practice, there have been 2 chairs. Are there, I'll ask Deputy Clerk Lally to display the resolution and ask if there are any nominations for chair. Acting President Allard.
I nominate Dave Pelletier.
Thank you. Dave Pelletier, do you accept the nomination? He has indicated yes. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Anybody? Are there any other nominations?
Sorry, I was talking to our Member of Parliament. I would like to nominate an intelligent and beautiful Métis matriarch, Katie Carson.
Ms. Carson, do you accept the nomination?
With an endorsement like that, how could I say no?
Right? Are there any other nominations? Do we have anything online? Okay. Seeing none, are there any objections to having Dave Pelletier and Katie Carson as co-chairs for this AGM? Any objections online? Seeing none, I would ask them to both come up to the stage and assume their chairs.
Oh, those lights are bright up here. Bon après-midi, Dave Pelche de Chenekashon et Metinia, Mino de famille, c'est le Peltier, Pele Isbister, Pele Bremner, Pele Ia Kiwak, Chetwind Doshin, Mapara ti la Ria Rouge Oshiwak. So good afternoon, my name is Dave Pelche, I'm Métis. My family names are Pelche, Isbister, and Bremner, and others. I'm originally from Chetwind, and my family's from the Red River. And I want to thank everyone for the trust and that's been displayed again. And I appreciate every time I get to come up and assist the nation with our business and how we proceed. And so it's a responsibility and a privilege that I take personally, and it means a lot to me, so I want to thank everyone. And I would say that I guess this was the only vote I actually got to use this thing for was the pizza vote, so. We have to keep our Métis businesses in business, so I voted in favor for President Allard's. Yeah.
Tanashiki Katie Carson, Dishinekashan. Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Carson. My family names are Short, Ross, Delorme, Vivier, Pierce, among others. Looking to my uncle to remember the rest. I grew up in Squamish Territory in Gibsons, BC, and I'm now living on the traditional stolen lands of the Halkomelem speaking peoples, specifically the Kakite First Nation in New Westminster. It is an honor. This is my first AGM to be chairing with you. It's my first AGM that I've attended, so hopefully I do everything I'm supposed to. I appreciate the opportunity to be up here and to be able to help run this meeting for you all, so thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So with that, we do have, as our clerk advised, we have quorum. So we are going to call officially the 2025 MNBC AGM to order. The first part on our draft agenda is to adopt the agenda. I hope everyone has a copy or has received the packet or the book. The draft agenda starts at page 7. And so please take a look. There's 3 days there, so pages 7, 8, and 9. This is a draft, and you'll see on the left, because sometimes it can be a bit confusing, especially if you're just doing a quick look. You'll see the times. These are obviously suggested times, and things will adjust as we go. But you'll see 2 times. So for example, for today at 2:15, you'll see motion to adopt the agenda. You'll also see 3:15. Doesn't mean we're scheduling an hour to do that. It's that we're including both our Pacific and Mountain times, as we do have people observing from those other time zones. So just be aware of that, but please take a look, and what I'll look for is a mover and a seconder to put the agenda on the floor, and then, of course, if there's anyone wishing to change it or make any amendments, that's certainly something we can do. I see Wendy Schneider. Wendy Schneider, Region 4, I accept the agenda. Okay, we have a mover for the agenda. Do we have someone to second? And I know sometimes we have people that are maybe mobility issues. We'll try to get microphones, but for certain things, especially if we get our names, I'll see, yes, the gentleman back there. Thank you very much. So we do have motion 2 to adopt the agenda on the floor. Is there anyone wishing to make any amendments or anything like that? Any changes or comments? If you do, we do have, if you're in the room, we have 2 microphones to the left and right. We'll do our best to keep track of kind of the order as well as online, and we'll get to that in a bit more detail in a moment. But certainly if you are online, use the hand raise function and we'll turn to you as well. I do see to my left the microphone here.
Oh, Jan Ovens, Cowichan Valley Métis. I was just hoping that the Q&A could be moved from Sunday morning to maybe Saturday afternoon. Partly, I think a lot of people are gone or packing their suitcase madly on Sunday morning, and I feel that that's when we maybe get more people here. My questions are answered, so for me it's not as important, but maybe for other people. Okay.
All right, thank you. And before I turn to my microphone to the right, is there anyone so we have to move to change the MNBC Q&A from the Sunday to the Saturday. And I might just get Ms. Ovens to clarify, for where on Saturday, would that be after the BC Manor presentation? Is that, I see hands in the air, but.
I don't know. So we could do it also right after lunch.
So we could do it in the morning or right after lunch, maybe the two suggestions, and maybe we'll see what the comments are, the discussion, and we'll see where, and I'll turn to my speaker to my right.
Yeah, Travis Jobin, Métis Nation, Columbia River. Yeah, I was going to bring up the same thing about moving the board Q&A earlier. I think I'm fine with that. I was wondering if we shouldn't just do it right off the bat after the minutes, but I'm fine with it tomorrow.
Do you have a preference, since we have you at there in the morning after BC Manor or after lunch tomorrow? We can certainly do that. Now, there's one of the concerns that I took from Ms. Oven, Jan's comments was that there's people packing and stuff on Sunday morning that might not make it. Today, there might be people that are still at work that haven't been able to make it in that might be able to make it on the weekend. That may be a similar kind of consideration, but the suggestion was tomorrow. I think we're just kind of seeing what time, perhaps.
Yeah, tomorrow after lunch.
Tomorrow after lunch? Okay, so if we're looking here so it would be at 105, 205 Mountain, kind of right after where it says clerk confirms quorum prior to resolution 3. That would be agreeable?
Yeah, 10-4.
All right, thank you. And Jan, I see a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So that's the amendment that's on the floor. And I'll turn it to, do we have anyone online yet? No, okay, I'll go to my left.
Ron Caron with the Vernon District Métis. When we went to pick up the books, they said they had a limited number. Is there any way you can put the agenda on the screen so if somebody didn't get the literature that they can actually see what the agenda is on the screen?
Sure, and what I might suggest putting the second day on the screen, since that's where the proposed amendment's going, because there's 3 pages of it, but.
Okay, yes, like some people don't have these books, and it's on the apps on the phone, but they're hard to read sometimes.
Yeah, thank you, and that's a good point for those who do wish to follow on their phone or tablet or whatever, that's there as well. Do we have anyone else on the... Okay, I'll turn to the speaker to my left.
Leonard Lubke on Region 2. I'd like to spend a little more time discussing the housing situation that confronts us. So you're allowing about 2 minutes per person to speak on an issue?
If it's germane to the issue that's before us, and right now that issue before the Assembly is the amendment to move the Q&A from Sunday to Saturday, so.
Okay, well, I guess I can approach it when we do the audited statement.
Sure, yeah, that would be another time.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing any other comments. Is there anything online? Nope. Then what I'll look for is, perhaps we'll start by way of unanimous consent on this. And I'm going to ask for a show of hands if there's any objection to moving the Q&A from the Sunday to Saturday after lunch. If there's any objection, and just raise your hand using one of the yellows so I can make sure that it's a citizen that's an objection. So the question from the floor is asking if there is going to be a confirmation that all the board members would be present, given that they're now changing the time. I did see some heads nodding. It appears so. That's for at least the board members that are present right now that are making that indication. So, all right. So, is there any objection then to moving the Q&A from Sunday to tomorrow afternoon? Any objection? Raise your hand. And if there's an objection online, just use the hand raise function. I'll give it about a count to 10, and then. All right, so that's amended. And so we now have the amended agenda. Is there any other amendments or changes or discussion on the agenda before we vote to confirm it? And I'll recognize the speaker to my right.
Yeah, Gary Bigger. Before we get going, Leonard alluded to something about 2 minutes per speaker.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some important stuff to talk about here, and some of us might take more than 2 minutes. There's got to be some flexibility on the discussion. I know some guys get carried away, and I'm one of them, but there's got to be some flexibility. I mean, this is a citizens meeting, and there's a lot of questions to be asked and answered, so we're going to need more than just 2 minutes to be cut off.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I think we can have a bit more of that discussion or comments in the next motion on when we approve or adopt the standing rules. But I think that's a valid point for discussion. Speaker to my right.
Maybe a question first.
And can I get you to introduce, and everyone who comes up, if you can introduce yourself so that it also helps me so that when I recognize you and later I can put a name to a face. And certainly a lot of people I do recognize, but.
Yeah, I should know this by now. Angel Robinson, Métis Nation, Greater Victoria. It's come to my attention that there are some youth here who are keenly interested in participating and being able to vote. They're eligible to vote for the youth in the Youth Act, but not at the AGM. I see that in 8.2 of the bylaws that that can be changed through special resolution, but with 30 days notice. I'm just wondering if there's any flexibility on that.
Just have a moment, but I think it's actually set out in the Constitution, the 18-year. If I can just have a moment. I'm trying to find it. I feel like it's in there, but in another area it is in the Societies Act prevents the bylaws have to specifically permit it, and to change the bylaws we'd have to go through the legislative process. So that might be something.
So I could not find it in the Constitution, but in 8.2 of the bylaws, it says that it should only be amended by a special resolution requiring the approval of at least 85% of members in attendance at an AGM or SGM, and requiring 30 days of notice. What I was asking is if there's any room for flexibility. If not, then there's no motion.
Yeah, I think because of the notice, I don't think there's, because it's required in the bylaws, it's not something we can just, not allow, because then what else could we say? Well, let's just be flexible with something that's been gone through the legislative process. So that would have been something that would have had to have been brought with the appropriate notice to do.
Okay, just thought I would ask.
Yeah, thank you. All right, back to the adoption of the agenda. Anyone else wishing to speak to that? Anyone online? All right, I'm going to again look for unanimous consent. Is there any objection to adopting the amended agenda? If there is, please raise your hand, and then we'll go through the full vote. Not seeing any online? All right, thank you. So the agenda as amended is adopted, and we'll proceed with that for the weekend. Thank you very much, everyone. And then we'll go next to motion 3, the adoption of the 2025 AGM standing rules. That I think can be found on page, I believe it's 10 And perhaps if we could, I don't know if we can put that on the screen.
Just give us a minute.
Yep, it'll just take a second. And of course, these are the kind of the rules or standing rules that we've been using for the AGMs and some of the slightly tweaked for the MNGAs for the last number of years. And it's just really, it's a way to allow my co-chair and I to allow the citizens to run the meeting in a way that's fair, that people are heard, but also in a respectful way. You know, and I want to, maybe I can make a comment about the point that Mr. Bigger raised, where if you'll see in the standing rules, number 6, and again, we're working on getting up on the video, but on each issue or motion, a citizen will be entitled to speak up to 2 times for no longer than 2 minutes each time, and speaking a 3rd time or longer than 2 minutes will require permission from the Assembly. So I agree, there are times we are speaking to issues that are sensitive, that are difficult, that are joyful, and there will be people who wish to speak, and it may go longer than 2 minutes. We will use our best discretion as well, and there will be people that, you know, if you're making the same point again and again, then we might ask you to just kind of stop. Well, the reason for the 2 minutes is to allow as many people to speak. If everyone spoke for as long as they wished, we might not be able to get the business done through a whole weekend. So it is a balancing, and these are guidelines, and you'll see even there, speaking for the 3rd time or speaking longer requires permission, because it is the Assembly. So where there's the will of the Assembly to let someone go on longer than the initial 2 minutes, that's fine if that's the will. And so it's not an issue of trying to silence anyone, certainly not, but it's a way to keep it moving, to allow other people to have an opportunity as well. So here we have the standing rules, and I'll look for someone to move, a mover and a seconder for the standing rules to adopt them. Tyler Massey, thank you. And I saw a hand in the right, yes? Rob Anderson, seconding. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wish to, yeah, I'll turn to.
Yeah, I want to speak a little bit more about this 2-minute thing, okay?
Yep, go ahead.
This is our assembly.
Yes.
And we are a Métis nation. So if we got an issue to talk about, this is our time to do it. Okay, so if we have some concerns and all that, don't be cutting me off at 2 minutes. I won't stand for that. You're our chair. We elected you to be our chair. We can remove you and elect somebody else. Do we understand that?
Oh, certainly. I can be removed with any majority vote. But again, it's also a fairness. If for example, if Mr. Levican, if you're the only one standing at the microphone and you're wishing to go beyond the time, then that, I don't see that would be an issue. If there are lineups on both sides and individuals have not yet had a chance, it's also an issue of fairness to them. And so that's what I'll be doing. And again, it's a balance, it's discretion there, but this is the will of the Assembly. And as number 6 sets as just an example, we're speaking longer. If the will of the Assembly is to allow someone else to speak next, then that's what we'll go with. But I take your point. Any other speakers online? Nope. Then I'll turn to my left.
Yeah, hi, David Allard, Seminar Métis. A point of clarification, please, in regard to this specific topic. What would be the way that would manifest itself? Specifically, will require permission from the Assembly. How would the process work? Understand there is some leeway. You'll make some potential interventions, comments in regards to that. But how would it move forward in a formal manner so the Assembly can decide? Thank you.
Certainly. So in the past, what we've had as examples of, let's say, citizens who are speaking and other citizens thinking that the speaking citizen has gone beyond their time and maybe wishes to hear from another citizen. Sometimes I hear that, and I prefer not to hear catcalling or comments, hey, sit down, your time is up, things like that. But things like saying hands up that I can see to alert me to that. And then it will go to the Assembly if, I'll ask the speaker to respectfully to pause, and we'll find out from the Assembly whether they wish to have the next speaker speak. And again, the first speaker can speak a second time, or a third, again, with the will of the Assembly. So it's your meeting. I'm just here to assist and to help guide and facilitate it so that everyone who wishes to speak has that opportunity. Yes.
Hi, Tracy Franklin, South Okanagan Similkameen Métis Association. Just before we go ahead and adopt the rules, just a clarification. So kind of touching on what Angel was asking, if there's youth here who are 15 and able to be in governance and that sort of thing, over 15 but are not 18 and cannot vote, are they allowed to stand and speak and ask questions and that sort of thing?
Yes, and I would be looking at number 2 as the example. Only MNBC citizens are entitled to speak and vote at this meeting. So because of a Métis or youth citizen's age, they would not be allowed to vote, but that does not prevent them from speaking because they are a citizen. And so I expect to be my ruling. Now that can be challenged by anyone, but I would say for a Métis youth within that age that wishes to speak to a matter, I don't see an issue with that, but unfortunately, the way the legislation is that they don't have an opportunity to vote.
Marcy, for the clarification.
Yes. We have one online, and then I'll turn to the back right corner. Dakota Kelm, please go ahead.
Dakota, we're just having some audio difficulties hearing you. Remotely to my left.
No. He is on speaker. Oh. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, go ahead.
Third time's the charm?
There we go.
Okay, perfect. Good to hear. Dakota Kelm, Two Rivers Métis Society. I'd personally like to speak against the amendment speaking here, for the simple fact that with each resolution presented, there's about 40 minutes allotted, 40 minutes, with about 2.5 minutes of speaking plus other talk from the chairs. There's going to be about 16 speakers per resolution. If we were to increase that time by any amount, it would greatly decrease the amount of breadth of voice we can have present at the AGM speaking on each resolution. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Dakota. Is there anyone else that wishes to make a comment on the standing rules before we vote to adopt or not? All right, not seeing anyone else. Anyone online? Just to double check. Nope. All right. Again, I'll look for unanimous consent first. Is there anyone objects to the adoption of the AGM standing rules? No one online? All right, thank you. So the AGM standing rules are adopted, and I'll turn it over to my colleague.
All right. So,
Just got a text that the audio is down online.
oh,
They can't hear.
okay. So with the audio online not working properly, we're going to move up our health break. So we will see everybody back in about 15 minutes, which puts us we'll just do 3 o'clock.
Got check. 1, 2. Yeah, there we go. Check, check.
health fair? Oh, good. Oh, that's what I thought. Way on the other side. Good.
If we can get everyone taking their seats, please. We're going to start in a moment, and we're going to check for quorum. I'm just going to start counting yellow lanyards while we're waiting, and just to see if we've got quorum. Well, we've got 40 people online currently, so
It's like 37.
37. So that's still quorum.
Let's get it going.
All right, folks, we're going to get started. If you could all take your seats.
And you can just confirm we do have quorum, or ask the clerk.
Just confirming with our clerk we have quorum.
Hey, Alan, you just sat down there. Yes, I confirm there is a quorum.
Fabulous. Okay, so we're going to move on to motion number 4, which is the review and adoption of the previous general meeting minutes. This motion is going to cover both the 2024 annual general meeting, which was September 20th to 22nd, 2024, and the minutes of the 2025 special general meeting, which was held on February 9th, 2025. Can I get a motion for or mover for this motion? Zelda, hand up here. And a second? Thank you, Greg Stonewood. So the motion is on the floor. If there's anyone who would like to speak to the minutes, any corrections that need to be made, we just ask that you please speak into the mic and tell us which minutes you're addressing. Anyone online?
I mean, it just goes to our wonderful minute taker and just remember when this meeting, remember speak clearly and use the microphone and introduce yourself so that our minutes will be just as good next year without any correction needed.
Wonderful. All right, seeing no speakers, we're going to look for unanimous consent. If there's anyone who objects to the adoption of these minutes, please raise your hand. Hi. Seeing none, we pass the motion. Thank you.
All right, moving along. Motion number 5, 2026 AGM determination of date. That, I believe, will be on page, what page is that?
Oh, it's not. We have to display it.
Oh, it'll just be displayed, sorry. So what I'll do is I'll turn it over to our clerk to read it for those in the room and online, and then I'll look for a mover and a seconder.
Okay. Whereas at the 2024 annual general meeting, MNBC citizens approved a schedule for upcoming AGMs with the 2026 AGM to be held in Region 2, and the Assembly did not consider dates for upcoming AGMs. Be it resolved that the Métis Nation British Columbia 2026 annual general meeting be held September blank 2026, subject to public health or public safety orders and availability of venues. The 2026 MNBC AGM be held in person with an online participation option. If public health or safety do not allow for an in-person AGM on this date, or there are significant restrictions on in-person gatherings, the AGM will be held virtually. Such decision must be made by the MNBC Board of Directors no less than 30 days prior to the event. If no venue is available on this date, the MNBC Board of Directors is authorized to change the date or region location of the meeting no later than 90 days prior to the original date. So your possible dates are September 11th to 13th, September 18th to 20th, or September 25th to 27th.
Thank you. And so what I'm going to ask, I'll look for a mover and a seconder just to put the motion on the floor, and then I'll invite that mover and seconder to have any discussion on suggested dates and discussion there. And what I would suggest, any speakers can just comment on the dates. We'll look at how the vote and just have discussion in general as opposed to amending or putting in one date, amending, discussing that, and then looking at the other dates. So we'll kind of discuss them at whole, and then we'll be able to vote. I do see a speaker to back on my right. Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Yes. Thank you very much. And I'll turn back to our mover if you wish to speak to or a suggestion of which dates you might prefer. Thank you. And my seconder, any comments or discussion? 18th to 20th. And I will open it up to anyone else here on the floor or online that maybe wish to discuss or comment on the suggested dates. All right, I'll recognize Lauren Peterson online.
Sorry, I didn't realize we were just speaking about the dates. The audio is a little bit delayed on my end. I would prefer to speak about the location. So if that's up for conversation later, I'll put my hand up again.
Sure, just give me a second, Lauren. All right, Lauren, I know there's a bit of I think it has to be in Region 2, or that was the decision last year. So is Region 2, if you wanted to discuss the specific location within Region 2, I'm certainly happy to entertain that.
No, my comment was just about equity within the regions, because this will be our third within Region 2. So,
all right, thank you.
People to consider. Thanks.
Right, thank you. To my speaker to my right, please introduce yourself.
Pixie Wells, part of the Fraser Valley Métis Association. I think we've had this conversation on numerous occasions because of school getting in and things like that, and it always seems to be that we settle on the 3rd or the 4th month of September. So it just seems like a given to go for the 18th and the 20th. So,
thank you. Lori Swanson online, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, chairs. I agree with the point that I believe Lauren is trying to make with respect to location. In fact, the AGM this year was supposed to be in Region 6, and a decision to have the meeting in Region 2 was made through a special meeting in February. And so, okay, that's fine. But I think, as she points out, it's going to be Region 2 again. And I think there is something about equity, to Lauren's point, but I think there is also something about travel considerations for the entire Métis population in British Columbia.
Certainly. Thank you, Lori. Speaker to my right.
Hi, my name is Ashley Dick, and I'm from the Chilliwack Métis. As a mom and school teacher, the beginning of September is a really hard time to sneak away, and right now, I could be in my classroom. So as a parent, the later date in September just opens up more opportunity because things have kind of begun in September. So I just wanted to put that forward when thinking of dates. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? I can just have a moment.
Thank you. Anyone else on the dates? Not seeing any. So what we're going. Oh, sorry. Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chris Sample from the Mikisew Métis, and I think September 25th to 27th is too close to Truth and Reconciliation Day, and we're mostly doing things for our communities that time. Thank you.
Thank you. So what I'm going to propose that I don't see anyone else, and there's no one online that I think, okay. What we'll do is we'll use the voting function. We'll give us choice. There'll be 4 choices, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, with the 3 different dates and a choice to abstain if you wish. It might just take us a second just to populate that vote. So just please bear with us for a moment, but that will be how we'll proceed given the multiple options. While we're waiting on that, just with regards to the financial statements overview coming up, I understand there was an error with the printer, and it's in the book has the last year's financials, and so those are being printed, so that they'll be handed out. I just wanted to advise that while we're dealing with this. So that we'll be expecting. I think our wonderful staff is printing those off so that they can hand out ahead of that discussion. Sorry? The ones online are correct, thank you. Just the ones in the book that were misprinted. Thank you very much for that.
There you go. It's on, so
All right, we're just setting up the Zoom poll, and then we'll have an opportunity to vote. It's always more difficult when there's options and we're choosing amongst the options as opposed to just yes, no, abstain. Please bear with us. All right, thank you. So please vote your preferred dates using your voting device if you are in the room, or using the poll on Zoom. We'll keep it open for about 30 seconds, and then I'll turn it over to our clerk and deputy clerk to reveal the results.
Hello?
Give 5 more seconds.
Hello?
All right, I'll turn it over to our clerk and deputy clerk.
Now we have to do a bit of math, so just bear with us.
Oh, did it crash?
We are having some technical difficulties. I apologize. Okay, we have an outcome, and the date from the 11th to 13th won the most votes. Isn't that it? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. This is me not understanding how it was written down. My apologies. So yes, the most votes came for the 18th to 20th.
Moment. All right, so thank you very much. So next year's AGM will be September 18th through 20th, 2026. I will now turn it over to my colleague for motion number 6. Oh, sorry, the presentation first.
Wonderful. So the next thing on our agenda is the financial statements overview, and we have a presentation by the Manning Elliott Chartered Accountants. We can welcome them up here to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here for this presentation. My name is Anna Maoni. I am the CFO for Métis Nation BC, and I would like to introduce our auditor from Manning Elliott, Ravneet Sindhu.
Thank you, Anna.
And I wonder if we could have the financial statements just put up on this screen, acknowledging that there was a printing error. The financial statements online are the correct 2025 ones, but the ones in the booklet were unfortunately a mixture of last year and this year. Could we go to the first page? Excellent. Thank you. Please go ahead, Ravneet.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm presenting consolidated financial statements of Métis Provincial Council of British Columbia for the year ended March 31st, 2025. Throughout my presentation, I will use the term council as I'm referring to Métis Provincial Council of British Columbia. And before we dig into the details, I wanted to clarify that we are using the term consolidated financial statements this year. So the reason we're using the term consolidated is because the council has incorporated certain corporations this year, which hold some of the properties, and the management has chosen the accounting policy to include the accounts of those entities in these financial statements. So we are required to use the term consolidated per accounting standards. Going to the next page. And this is the independent auditor's report. This is what Manning Elliott has issued after conducting the audit and approval of the board. I will briefly go over various sections of this report. The first section is the opinion, which states that these financial statements are free from any material misstatements and are prepared in accordance with Canadian accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. The next section, basis for opinion, states that that opinion that we have given is based on an audit that was conducted in accordance with Canadian generally accepted auditing standards, and the opinion we have given is based on the evidence that we collected by performing various procedures. The next section is responsibilities of management, which include preparing the attached financial statements and ensuring that they're free from any misstatements. The next section is auditor's responsibilities, which is to obtain reasonable assurance whether these financial statements are free from any material misstatements, and then issuing an auditor's report, which is what we are going through to provide our opinion. The next page provides more details on auditor's responsibilities as to how the audit is conducted, which include assessing what the risks of misstatements could be, understanding internal controls, assessing that the accounting policies used are appropriate, assessing that the council can continue its operations in the foreseeable future, and evaluating the content in these financial statements. The next page has a brief paragraph as required by the Societies Act of British Columbia. It states that accounting policies that are used are consistent with prior year, and they are in accordance with the Canadian accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. On the next page, we have the first financial statement, which is Consolidated Statement of Financial Position. Some of you may know the term balance sheet. In non-profit organizations, we call it Statement of Financial Position. So this statement provides you, can we scroll up a bit? So the Statement of Financial Position provides a snapshot of the assets and liabilities of the council on a particular date, which is March 31st, 2025. So first we have assets. So what are assets? Asset is what the council owns. And we can see that for 2025, the total assets are 144 million compared to 118 million last year. So they have increased by 25 million. So looking at the significant assets which are driving the change, first we have cash. You can see the cash The first two lines relate to cash. It's just divided into two lines. First line is normal cash, and the second is restricted cash. Restricted cash means that there's cash on hand on which there's a restriction by the funder on how it can be used. So if I add the first two lines, the total cash is 37 million compared to 49 million last year. So cash has decreased a little bit by 12 million, which takes us to our next line, which is short-term investments, which is GICs. We have 55 million compared to 30 million last year. So extra cash on hand has been invested in some GICs with varying maturity terms. Next is accounts receivable, which is the government funding mainly, which is not received yet. So that's at 1.9 million. Goods and services tax receivable at 895,000. This is GST that the council has paid on various expenses, so they get to claim a certain portion of it back from CRA. The next is prepaid expenses and deposits at 3.6 million compared to 2.2 million last year. So they have increased mainly because of some advance payments made on modular buildings. Next significant asset item is endowment at 1.2 million, which has stayed the same as last year. So this is the funding for which the principal portion is held intact, and only the income, the investment income or interest earned on it is used towards various programs as required by the funder. The next is capital assets. Capital assets include land, building, equipment, computers, etc., and they are at 44 million. They've increased by 12 million due to additions, more purchases done this year for approximately 14 million and less amortization done at 2 million. So adding up all the assets, we come at 144 million this year. The next section is liabilities. So liabilities is what the council owed to others on March 31st, 2025. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities are at 7 million compared to 3.5 million last year. So they have increased by about 4 million because of the various capital renovation projects that have been ongoing around that date. So there is a difference in when the invoice came in and when the payment is made. Vacation payable to employees about 1.2 million. We have income taxes payable at 16,000. It's a small amount, but I do want to highlight why are we looking at income taxes in a non-profit organization financial statements. So as I mentioned earlier, we have included accounts of some holdcos, which are private corporations, in these financial statements. And those private corporations are, if they have more revenue than expenses, they are required to pay tax to Canada Revenue Agency. So we have a small tax payable there for 16,000 from one of those entities. Next is deferred revenue. So what is deferred revenue? Deferred revenue is the funding that has been received. There's a restriction on it, how it can be used, for what it can be used, and as it's not used yet, it's recorded as a liability called deferred revenue on this statement. So it's at 88 million compared to 78 million last year. It has increased due to new funding received under various programs. The next significant liability is deferred capital contributions. So deferred capital contributions are different from deferred revenue. Deferred capital contributions mean the funding it's received and it has also used for the purchase of capital assets other than land. They are recorded as a liability on this statement and are recorded to revenue at the same rate when the capital assets under assets are amortized as an expense. So there's a matching principle happening with revenue and expense going into the statement of operations at the same time. So adding up all the liabilities, we have 119 million. Total assets, if we take total assets at 144 million, less total liabilities at 119 million, we will get our net assets at the bottom at 24 million, which takes us to our next statement, which is statement of changes in net assets. So this statement measures accumulation of surplus over the years. So opening net assets were 21 million, less loss incurred this year at $341,000. We will talk about this loss in the next statement. The funding that is used towards purchase of land is recorded as a direct increase to net assets at 4 million. It's required under the accounting standards to not record it as revenue, but record it here. And that brings us to our net assets at the end of the year to 24 million. And you can see the net assets are segregated on the left side into different categories. That's just a requirement per the accounting standards. The next page is just a comparative data from last year, so I won't go through it. The next statement is consolidated statement of operations. Now, this statement gives us information on revenues and expenses of the council for the 12-month period starting April 1st, 2024, ending March 31st, 2025. So the layout of this statement is it lists revenues and expenses by various programs that are run by the council throughout the year. And if you keep flipping through various pages, there are many programs listed, and most of them have revenues equal expenses. So if I flip to page 21, for this year, the total revenue was 83.6 million. Total expenses were 83.9 million, resulting in a small loss of $341,000. I would like to talk a little bit about why we're looking at a loss this year. So we have put together a little bit of slides so that's easier to follow.
If we could just get the finance PowerPoint displayed that was sent earlier, that'd be great.
So the loss of $341,000 is mainly resulting from a program called JV and Partnerships. The council has investment in certain joint ventures and partnerships. And these joint ventures and partnerships, whenever they have some activity in it, they give the portion that relates to the council to the council. In the last 3 years, as you can see in that table, we have received revenue under this program, totaling $704,000. But there were no expenses incurred in those years. So this income received was recorded directly as an was recorded directly as a revenue with no expenses. This year, we have expenses incurred for $689,000. So if we take the surplus that was earned in the previous years, less expenses that were incurred this year for various economic development activities, we still have unused surplus in this year. So it's just a timing difference when the revenue got recorded and when the expenses got recorded. Going to the next slide. So just wanted more details on that this partnership income is not restricted. There's no restriction on how the council can use it. So as I mentioned earlier, the funds received were recorded as a revenue in the income statement or statement of operations with no expenses. And in 2025 fiscal year, with more expenses incurred, they are being covered by the surplus that was earned in the previous years. So on the next slide, you might ask, why are we not seeing loss in the other programs, but only seeing loss in this program? So most of the programs that are run by the council has a restriction on them on the funder, how you can use it. So when the funds get used, we record the same amount as revenue in the statement of operations. That's why in statement of operations, there's so many programs where revenue and expense would match. Under JV and partnership, there is no restriction. So when the money is received, it's recorded directly as revenue. And when it's used, it's recorded as an expense. So the revenue and expense may not happen in the same year. So you may see surplus in some years and then loss in some other years. So moving back to the financial statements. So we have talked about this statement where we discussed why we have loss. Going on to the next financial statement, which is this consolidated statement of cash flows. So this statement provides change in bank statement, bank accounts of the council for 12-month period starting April 1st, 2024, ending March 31st, 2025. It's quite technical at the top, most of the section, but at the bottom you can see the line talking about change in cash during the year, and you can see there's a negative number, 12 million. That's showing that there was a decrease in cash of 12 million. And as mentioned before, the decrease is mainly coming from extra funds on hand being invested in GICs. So if we check the cash balance in the beginning of the year at 49 million, less the change of 12 million, we will get the cash balance on March 31st, 2025 of 37 million. And that 37 million is further segregated into two lines, as I mentioned earlier, on the statement of financial position, which is normal cash and restricted cash. Lastly, we have notes to consolidated financial statements. So under accounting standards, we are required to disclose details for certain sections. These notes are quite consistent with last year and are typical of any nonprofit organization. I will only highlight a couple of notes in the financial statements. So if you go to note 8 on page 32, just wanted to briefly highlight this note is talking about deferred revenue, which is the funding received, has restriction on it, how it can be used, so it's recorded as a liability. So the first table is a bit of a continuity, but at the bottom you can see it provides breakdown of deferred revenue by various ministries of the council. The next note I'd like to highlight is note 9, long-term debt on page 34. So this is one of the loans on a school that was being paid by the council. It provides terms of the loan, and it was paid off subsequent to year end. So as of today, the balance is 0. So that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much for your presentation. If there's anyone who has questions, please we'll just ask you to approach the microphones. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Dave from Salmon Arm. Could we get a little bit more information in regards to the joint ventures, perhaps in layman's terms to a certain extent? My understanding is there was revenue. Expenses were only allocated 3 years after. And the difference amounted to a surplus of around $15,000. So MNBC is a major owner of 8 joint ventures based on this. and over 3 years, there was seemingly only $15,000 in revenue, and this may go to the statements, or it may be addressed to any leadership in the room as well in regards to what kind of value are we getting for being in 8 partnerships and making only $15,000 over 3 years, and what is the nature of those accumulated expenses as well, and do they relate to one or more than one company? Thank you.
Thank you. I can take that one. So yes, we do have a number of joint ventures and partnerships. Many of these we've had for a large number of years. We've received modest income probably over the past 7 years that I have been here. I will say that we have received the joint venture and partnership income, but we really, in the past, hadn't invested it into economic development activities. So last year, there was a decision made that we were going to make an investment in economic development. Hence, in previous years, there was little to no expenses. We just brought the income in for our joint ventures and our partnerships, but we really didn't have a very active Ministry of Economic Development. We know that that is the future. We need to invest in that, and that's exactly what we did this year. We are building our Ministry of Economic Development, hence we had a large number of expenditures related. We also, I would like to add, had a large number of funding agreements as part of our Ministry of Economic Development. But we knew we had this income that we could allocate against those activities, and that's what we've done. We are really forward-thinking with our economic development.
Thank you. We'll go to my speaker here on the right side.
Yeah, Gary Bigger, member Nova. My question is, I understand, I'd like to see where we bought land, a breakdown. I'd like to see, did we pay for it outright, or are we making payments? What's taxes on this land? You know, is it ALR, or is it business land, or what? I mean, that's really important. I mean, we spent a lot of money on land, and what's happening with it? All we know is we bought land. That doesn't cover it.
Thank you. I can take that. We have invested in a variety of properties that have land. Some have land and buildings. And so a number of those properties are in various stages of development. Our housing team is working incredibly hard on the development plan for all of these properties. As well, we also have various daycare properties that we are working on. So we have a large number. I recognize in our notes, it's just land and just buildings. So it doesn't give that breakdown, but we are providing more financial disclosures, and you know, we can provide additional information on that, but they are all in various stages of development. And you know, some we have just done pre-development. So each piece of property is very different.
Yeah, I understand that, but my question was, are we making payments on this land, or did we, and if that's the case, you know, what's the interest? I mean, we're spending money like it's water, but we're not getting the answers.
To date, we are not making payments on land. We have purchased the land and the properties outright. I'm not saying in the future that we wouldn't have different payment terms depending on which properties we're developing, but as of right now, those are MNBC-owned properties. There is no mortgage, there is no loans on them.
Just before we come back over here, just want to check if there's anyone online. No? Okay, great, wonderful. Over to you.
Okay, further to Yogi's question, under 32 under land, there's 22,223,000. Now, what's that pertaining to? What land What land was purchased? Who negotiated the purchase
Sorry.
of the parcels for MNBC?
Sorry, sir, can you speak into the microphone a little more?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
How's that?
Perfect.
All right, good. Okay, who owned each of the parcels purchased in 2024-25?
Oh, I think it's off now. No, do you want to come to the other microphone maybe? Oh, here comes tech support.
Testing, testing.
Better.
Ain't nothing but a hound dog. Okay, who owned each of the parcels purchased in 2024-25? Who negotiated the purchase of the parcels for MNBC? Who was the real estate agent handling each of these purposes? Where are the board minutes showing board approval for the purchases? Now, I work as a project manager, and we're building a healing center and 111 units of housing. I know what goes into it, how much the cost is, everything. There's a lot of big process to it, but there should be a paper trail. So tell me, where are these parcels of land? How much should we pay for them? And who's doing the contracting? Who from the board of directors is responsible for that? Is that Walter Minnow?
Can I answer the question?
Go ahead.
Great. So the cost of the land is what is in the financial statements. That is the actual cost of what we purchased. As far as who the individuals or companies that own the properties prior to us purchasing them, I don't have those details in front of me. But I can speak to the fact that our Ministry of Housing has done an incredible amount of due diligence on each and every property that we purchase, that we develop. We have a paper trail. I can account for every single dollar that we spend. And those are all approved by the board in the board minutes that are available online. So I can say we have a paper trail for absolutely everything.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to learn more about all this purchases and that, and where they're located, and who was the agent responsible, or who the director was. And I want to know more information. That's a big chunk of real estate there. Matter of fact, I would entertain that we do a forensic audit, okay, to identify all these costs. And also other costs that we're involved in.
We have a listing of all the properties and all the costs attributed to them, as well as the additional development costs. We have all of that. I don't think we need a forensic audit, but we can certainly make more financial information available and give a summary of that. I understand there are a lot of properties around the province that we are talking about, and again, they're in various stages of development. So some, we've added costs into them annually. Others are fairly minimal, but again, they're all in different stages of development, and I'm happy to take this back to the team, and I think that we can come up with some expanded financial disclosure if there is that appetite to share that. So I'm happy to bring that back.
Okay, let me follow up with one more. We purchased some land over in Hudson Hope. For what? I don't know, because that dam's already built up there, right? So anyway, we paid $4.5 million for a chunk of it, where we actually ended up paying $8 million for it. So where did the other $4 million go?
I don't have the details of the Hudson Hope property specifically in front of me, but I will take that back and we will provide more financial information and more of a summary. But we do due diligence on every single property, on every single company that we're working with. We do the due diligence.
Why don't you show us that then?
I can. I just don't have it in front of me. I really only have the high-level statements. I don't have the details of every single project that we have. I will get it.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a motion that we do a forensic audit. Okay, it can't hurt. might actually reveal a lot of things. So I make the motion that we do a forensic audit. I was talking to Joe Jerlick, one of our longtime lawyers, about the situation, and he had recommended that we do a forensic audit. So I make that motion that we do a forensic audit.
Sorry,
If people want to vote against it, fine. If they want to vote for it, doesn't hurt anything.
I would like to add, as part of the audit we do look at all the supporting documents and board approval of all the significant purchases. And given that most of the purchases are significant, we would have looked at all the documentation and the trail of the documentation as well.
But accounting principles, you do what you call sampling, right?
Most of the purchases are quite large, so we would have looked at most of them.
But you do sampling, no? Accounting.
Yes.
'Cause you don't do every month, right? You do maybe every couple months or whatever.
It's not based on the months, it's based on how much the money is spent. And given that these are large purchases, we would have looked at most of them.
Okay, my motion still sits on the floor.
Okay, for that motion, we need a seconder to move forward. I have Anya in the back there. All right, the motion is on the floor for discussion. Save me, Dave.
Yeah, I'll help out with just this part. Okay, so we do have the motion for a forensic audit moved by Mr. Lawakan, seconded by Ms. McVeigh. We do have 3 speakers on the list, so if you want to have a seat, I do for the next, once we deal with this amendment. So I had this gentleman here on the right. I had right there, and then we also have someone online, Stuart Dixon. But what we'll do then, I will, I think you've explained why you want to have the forensic audit. I'll invite our seconder if you wish to discuss why we should be discussing the forensic audit. No, that's why you wish to discuss it. Yeah. Oh. Can we get
Can I get someone to carry a microphone down, please?
Yeah, we've got it.
Okay, we're all running.
Thank you.
Hello, sorry. I simply, that I don't view that there's a negative to the process of having a forensic audit done. We either learn things we didn't know or we learn exactly what we already know.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the forensic audit motion, please go ahead to my left.
Alex Ibbotson, Rocky Mountain Métis citizen and Region 4 Veterans Regional Rep. I just would like to know with the experts at the table what an approximate cost would be for a forensic audit. And just in addition to that, maybe an expert at the table might be able to clarify what additional information would be gathered through a forensic audit that isn't already in the current audit process.
A forensic audit could be upwards of $20,000, $30,000. And as far as what we're determining that would be any different from the audit process, I think we're duplicating efforts. That would be my opinion.
Vote on it then.
Thank you. I next had to my right. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Angel Robinson, Métis Nation, Greater Victoria. I was just going to ask, for my own knowledge, if you could tell me more about what a forensic audit is and what it does, and also if one has ever been done and what the best practices would be considered for an MNBC, I guess.
A forensic audit would be based on audit principles, but it would be directed, I believe the intention would be to direct it specifically to the property purchases. So the scope of that audit would be narrower than, of course, our annual audit. Revneet, do you have anything to add to that?
I agree with Anna's comment. So when we are doing an audit on the financial statements, we are looking at every element. when we are looking at only on the purchases of land and buildings, the scope is narrow. Now we're only looking at land and buildings. And given that there are such significant purchases, and we can provide details on how much we have already looked at, and then just looked at the smaller purchases. But if the land is significant purchase, so most of them would have been already looked into, all the supporting documents and all the supporting invoices and the board approval.
Thank you. I next have Jan Ovens.
Jan Ovens, Cowichan Valley Métis. I just want to speak against this motion. If nothing else is coming out, don't waste my time. I think the offer to see more about the properties is, until we see that, why would we even go this far? I'd love to see that, and I think that might help. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Bigger on my right.
Yeah, Gary Bigger, Nova. I'm not sure where Leonard was going with this, but I don't think he was talking about a forensic audit only on the houses. There's been asked for years and years and years about a forensic audit that the people could see about everything that MNBC is spending money on. Like, we're spending millions of dollars and nobody knows where it's going. And everybody has questions, but we've never got answers. So that's why I think, and that's why I think he's asking for a proper forensic on everything. And as far as, oh, it's going to cost $34,000, big deal.
Thank you very much. And just to be clear, for the motion that is on the floor, and it's been written out, thank you, by our staff, is a forensic audit conducted on all MBC land and property purchase, as Mr. Labakan requested, not just housing or houses.
Yeah, I'm ready to amend that to include everything, all the spending of MNBC. That includes everything.
Well, we'll deal with this one first. The next speaker I had on my list, I know we're bouncing back for you were in line first, so I'm going to go with Mr. Caron.
Ron Caron, Vernon District Métis. If I'm not mistaken, a forensic audit is performed if there's an accusation or an allegation of some sort of fraud or wrongdoing. And I think Anna's statement that she would provide the information, I don't think that a forensic audit is required unless the speaker that put the motion forward is prepared to make an allegation that there's wrongdoing within this nation and the accounting, and I speak against the forensic audit motion.
Okay, thank you. I next have Chairperson Fisher, or not, sorry, Director Fisher.
Hi. So Deborah Fisher, Region 4 Kootenay Director. My portfolio is education. And so some of those purchases have been done through us building and hoping to build 13 childcare centers around this province. Right now, we had a renovation in Vancouver, or in Victoria. We have purchased property in Port Alberni. Actually, no. We are working with the school district in Port Alberni. We purchased land in Terrace, which they're going to be opening up fairly soon. We are also purchased property in Fort St. John, which that project is a ground up project, so that has taken some extra time. We are working also with trying to develop something in Vernon, in Cranbrook, in Invermere, Victoria. Like, there's so many really good projects going on. In order for us to be able to do those projects, we have to purchase property or work with the school district or work with other organizations. I do not have a problem saying where our land purchases are. I know for a fact that Anna and her team will provide that for you. I speak against a forensic audit because I think that our finances, what we've been doing over the last couple of years, has been fantastic to get it as open and honest and transparent as possible. I have only had one person contact me about information on our financial statements, and I was able to get that, no problem. So I think if you have a problem or you have a question, just ask. It will be provided for you.
Thank you. I next have Ms. McVeigh.
And McVeigh, 2S representative for Region 3. Not to call anybody out, but our sitting president, part of what she campaigned on was having a forensic audit, and so I would like to hear from her.
Well, I'll turn our next speaker, and I'll let any speaker can choose to speak if they wish. But the next speaker I had on my list was CEO Trudeau.
Colette Trudeau, Golden Years Métis Society. Just wanted to provide the Assembly with some information and let you know that if you do want to learn more about the properties and the developments that are happening across the province, I encourage you to head to the trade show. And we have our Ministry of Housing there available to provide you with information. They have a booklet that is printed out. It has the properties, it has the proposed designs for those properties, and they are going to be happy to provide more information about everything we are working on across the province. So please, if you do have questions, that's why our staff are here. That's why our board is here. We want to provide as much transparency and information to folks as possible. So please go and visit that team and see the incredible work they've been doing alongside all of our partners within our Métis Charter communities.
Thank you. The next speaker I have is online. Stuart Dixon, please go ahead.
Stuart Dixon, Mid-Island Métis Nation. I'm going to speak on the motion as well that was tabled, I believe, by Leonard. The best way to look at a forensic audit would be to actually appoint who the auditor or accountant is going to be for fiscal 2026. You know, the cost estimates, which was dutifully raised in a great question by Alex, I think that would be the best medium if we're looking at a true forensic audit, would to be appointing a different auditor. It is nothing against the firm Manning Elliott. I think they're great, but I think in terms of resources, if that is the will of the people, then I would suggest that would be the appropriate course of action. I'll lower my hand for a future question on the financials if permitted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next, we've got some other speakers here, some that have already spoken. I'm going to have a gentleman. Yes, go ahead. I know you've been standing there for a bit.
Yeah, I want to speak against.
Can you introduce yourself?
Oh, my name's Greg LeBlanc, Sea to Sky. Yeah, I'd like to speak against the forensic audit. I think that what's being asked by the person making the motion is the decision process and the underlying steps underneath the numbers. You can see that if we look at note 7, you've got, what, about $40 million worth of building and land with not an awful amount of accumulated amortization within the buildings. So the buildings are, says to me, it's relatively new unless we've recently purchased them. And so a forensic audit, if it's dealing with the numbers have been done to death by the auditors because they're big numbers. I think what's being asked is the rest of the detail underneath of that. And so as a forensic audit, as a term, I would say no. Hopefully our board and our executive provide enough detail within the minutes to provide this information so that the people are able to know. That's all I say.
Thank you very much. Again, a speaker has not yet spoken. Please, Interim President Allard.
Thank you. Melanie Allard, Acting President, Métis Nation BC. I can say I did run on this platform And I can also say that since I have been here and have been able to see the information that is provided and shared, I think as long as they provide the housing things, everything that we want to see, I think you'll see the same as I have. I haven't really seen any problems, so I would have to speak against it at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Labakan?
Okay, at this time, I'll rescind my motion. But coming back and that, there's a lot of questions. You know, professional fees, $3.1 million. Who's the contractors? You know, you're not even putting those names up. You know, and then a lot of money being spent, and how many people are being hired? 200, 300 people? And what are they doing? That's all I got to say. I just care about our nation and our money.
Thank you. And before I address the comment about rescinding, I don't know if, Alex, did you wish to comment?
Yeah, may I? Thank you. Alex Ibbotson, Rocky Mount Métis. I just want to bring into the dialogue that we've already heard that the Métis Nation is stepping up their investments in economic development. Previous to this change in decisions, we haven't had a lot of investment in procurement. We haven't had a lot of investment in our databases. So all of these projects are commonly presented on social media, typically. So if you want to hear about them as they're happening, get your algorithms on track and start following the nation and seeing what's happening. And then in the future, there's a booth out there that says, tell us how to make the website better. Maybe some of these procurement initiatives, we can give feedback to the nation that we'd like to hear about projects sooner so that all our Otipemisiwak can get involved and start contributing to our nation in economic development.
Thank you. And just before, I take it you were for the first one. Thank you. Mr. Norquay, did you wish to speak to this part? Please go ahead.
Alex Norquay, Vice President, Caribou Chilcotin Métis. I just want to say we're making a mountain out of a molehill here. Anna's offered to give the information that's needed, so that should deal with that. But I do agree, and I don't think I should have to go to chat and try to find out where this stuff is at and all that. It should come out in the newsletters that goes out. A new piece of property's been bought, it's going to be a child care center. Just make it more clear when we have that stuff. We shouldn't have to find out here all of a sudden that we bought 12 new properties this year. It should be something that by the time we get here, we know which one we want to ask a question about if there's not enough. So, thank you.
Thank you. So just before, I think we've got someone online. I think of the next one, yeah. Go ahead, Dakota Kelm.
Dakota Kelm, Two Rivers Métis Society. Given the fact that we have heard a number of various opinions, I'd like to call this motion to question after the speaker list is exhausted.
Thank you. And so what we're going to do, and if we can put up what we had before, so it was properly on the floor. We did have a mover and a seconder, so we can't just simply rescind. But what I will look for is there unanimous consent to remove or to rescind this the motion. This is the one for the forensic audit. Is there any objection to that and would wish to actually go to a vote? Please indicate your objection to dealing with it by way of the rescission. And is there any online?
It looks like we have one objection online, possibly two. I'm not clear if Mr. Dixon is objecting, so.
But we have more than at least
Yes.
one. Okay. So what we'll do then, we are going to vote on whether or not that a forensic audit be conducted on all MNBC land and property purchases. Once it's ready, both online and in the room, you'll be voting, if you are in favor of the forensic audit, you'll be pressing the 1 or A button. If you're opposed to the forensic audit, 2 or B, and if you wish to abstain, 3 or C. So I'll turn it over to our clerks, and when they're ready to open the voting.
Hello. Tracy Regazzi, Region 2 citizen. If this is going to be voted on, it should definitely be contained within a date period, not just every purchase ever.
This was the motion that was made by the mover and seconded, so I appreciate the comment, but this was the motion. So when the clerk, I'll turn it over to Nicole.
Doing something else. Yes, you can vote now. My apologies. Sorry? You can. Yep. That'd be good.
We'll give it about 10 more seconds. All right, we will close the vote and the poll.
Okay, we have an outcome. There were 19 votes in favor, 138 opposed, and 6 abstentions, which means the motion to have a forensic audit is defeated.
Thank you very much. I'll turn it over to my colleague. We've got the 3 that were in line on our list for the Q&A portion. And we've got Anthony, Greg, and Stuart online is our order as of right now.
Hello, Anthony Wingham with Chia Métis Society. This might be a question to the board. On page 29, the joint ventures, I see that the council holds 51% while the remaining is 49 interest. Can you explain if these 8 listed joint ventures are actually Indigenous companies, or if that 51% interest that we hold makes them Indigenous and are able to go after Indigenous contracts? Thank you.
That would be the 51% that we hold.
Thank you. We'll come over to our speaker on the left.
Greg LeBlanc, Sea to Sky. I noticed when in your presentation that there were prior year expenses recognized within the current year in relation to about a $700,000 revenue component. Did I see that, and why was it not recognized in the periods that they were incurred?
The expenses were incurred in 2025 fiscal year.
Yes.
Yes.
When was the revenue incurred?
Revenue has been earned in previous years. Given that there is no restriction on it, the standard wants you to record it as revenue in the year it's received.
Oh, so you took a cash basis on that as opposed to... However, should there not have been a matching between the revenue and the expenses from the past years?
For non-for-profit organizations, accounting standards are a little different when it comes to the entities which have restricted funding and unrestricted money coming in.
Okay.
So
All
there
right.
may not always be matching when we have
So
certain programs
we
which
can't
have
count
no
on the
restriction.
matching principle then, I guess, in this.
Yes, only when there's a restriction. As you can see, many
Okay.
programs, most of the programs have a restriction on them, and their revenues always match expenses.
Okay. I'm just saying that because, you know, it's possible that when you don't have proper matching between revenue and expenses, you got some space to play with revenue, right? You can, you can make it look a little better if you can defer your expenses going forward. But anyway, that's just my comment. The second question, and now the details of the schedules listed in your statement of operations, are they available for review? Because there's about, I don't know, 100 and whole bunch of, are they available?
Those are available for our funders. We don't publish those
They're not
because
published. Okay.
the information in them is pretty much what you see on the summary of the schedules. There's not a lot of additional information there.
Okay, just some people could be interested in, you know, the component of salaries, office supplies, all those sorts of things that are being attached to those schedules. So, okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we did provide some supplementary information this year that does do a detailed list of expenditures. We haven't broken it out per program, but we have broken out the expenditures so that everyone can see that breakdown.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to a question online from Stuart Dixon, please.
Stuart Dixon, Mid-Island Métis Nation, and I applaud the questions from the previous speaker. Thank you. Turning to the balance sheet, in the 2025 financial statements, MNBC reported $7.3 million in accounts payable and just about $1.9 million or so in receivables. That's an AP to AR ratio of 4.42 to 1. So put plainly, in the current year right now, as of March 31st, we owe more than $4 for every $1 coming in. That doesn't really illustrate a picture of being financially strong. This imbalance, I believe, shows a bit of a burn rate issue. So my question to leadership is, how does leadership plan to fix this structural cash flow problem? And what risk does it pose to the federal or provincial transfers and the deferred revenue if there are funding delays? Thank you.
I can answer that question. As far as accounts receivable, primarily all of our accounts receivable is related to government funding. So basically what this says is that we received almost everything that we were owed as of March 31st, certainly more than we had the previous year. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities is largely a nature of timing. There can be certain things like accrued payrolls, depending on when that falls in the year. It's really a timing issue. It's when we get those invoices in, and maybe we didn't receive everything by year end. Maybe we had some really large purchases that came, and we had, concurred the liability for them, but we hadn't paid for them at year end. So it's really timing. I don't see a correlation between receiving government funding and when we are putting on those activities, when we are, facilitating those programs and doing those expenses. We do match that to our revenues.
Just
Thank you. We'll go to
a
our
response
speaker
if
here on the
that's
right.
permitted.
Yeah, wanted to fall out of there. Pixie Wells. I just have a couple of questions that have been sent to me. And I just want to know, why did MMBC make long-term investments in Crane Company and the William Scottman, a U.S. storage company? And MMBC received $4 million for research on Kelly Lake. How is that data being shared and protected? And is there still a relationship with Kelly Lake?
I can speak to the joint ventures. Those have been historical ventures. We've had those for years. Some of them are very passive. There's nothing happening with them, but those are ventures that we have entered into for a number of years, and we're pursuing new ones. So I think that if you look at our previous year's financials, you'll see the same ventures going back a large number. As for the Kelly Lake, I don't have any information on that at this time. I can get more, but at this time, I don't have a comment on that. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to end the Q&A there and move to our motion. Oh, pardon me, we have one more question from Stuart online. Are you there, Stuart?
Yes, I am. I was just waiting for a prompt here. One thing to note as well, just in response to that note I made about AP to AR, I totaled up the past 6 fiscal years, and I observed MMBC spending approximately $352 million on programs. And above of that, I can calculate 232 million of that came from the federal government, 68 million from the province. Almost entirely prescriptive deferred revenue agreements, money that flows in, gets spent exactly as directed, and then disappears from the books. My concern is this, after 6 years of record funding, are we really seeing any evidence in terms of the core capacity and financial independence? I know there has been a lot of CapEx, but we're essentially running dollar for dollar revenue and expenses out, and the meaningful surplus with little own source revenues is a problem. So my question is, why hasn't this historic level of spending, been used to, go into those economic programs and just through, that, I guess, I don't want to say pass-through system, but, without leaving any permanent behind there. I know there's been CapEx, which is positive, and that's great. But just maybe a comment on the program spending would be helpful.
I can comment on the program spending. I mean, every funding agreement that we get, for the most part, is related to a certain program. It's prescripted. So, we do spend the funding on that. As far as actively going out and building up our core capacity and our economic development, that's exactly what we're doing. We're in that process. We're really excited about the things that are happening. And yes, this is the future. We want to not have to rely on government funding. That's the dream. So that's exactly where we're going.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move to the motion. So this is a motion to accept the financial statements as presented. Can I have a mover? Thank you, Patrick. And a second? Thank you, Tom. All right, so this motion is on the floor. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the motion? Maybe we've done a lot of talking about this motion. Okay, I see no speakers, so I'm going to look for unanimous consent. Is there any opposition to accepting the financial statements as presented? Anything online? Nope. Okay, seeing none, the motion carries. I'd just like to say thank you to our auditor for coming and presenting to us today. Yes.
just before we get to the appointment of the auditors for the next fiscal year, I do note the time. We're at 4:30, so we are half an hour past what we're originally going to do or continue with. So we have the CEO SLT update on the agenda. What I'm going to propose, we put that over to tomorrow morning, start with that. I've spoken with Colette, expect that to be about 15 minutes plus then time for the Q&A and things like that. And noting that it's 4:30 here, but 5:30 already Mountain Time, and I'm sure they're getting ready to prepare dinner and stuff there as well. So that'll be the plan. We will, in just a moment, conclude with the appointment of the auditors for next fiscal year and then adjourn till tomorrow morning.
All right, so final motion for today is the appointment of the auditors for the next fiscal year. Can I have a mover? Someone? Thank you, and a seconder? Patrick, thank you. All right, this motion is on the floor. Would anyone like to speak to it? Anyone online? Oh, we have one online. Stuart Dixon online, please.
Stuart Dixon, Mid-Island Métis Nation. As I said in the previous motion about the forensic audit, if that is something that is still the will of the people to look at, this would be the opportunity to look at potentially motioning to have a different accounting firm or a procured out solution for a successful party to be appointed as the auditor for the nation. I also agree that, or my belief at least, that governments or municipalities or organizations are looking at their financial statement reviews. They often go through a 5 and 10 year review period and procuring it out for competition on things. So those are just my thoughts for consideration, and if anybody else has any discussion on that point, I would welcome it, but that this would be the opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, Louis, go ahead.
Hello, Louis DeJager. I'm also on the Finance Committee as well, and you know what, we talked about this, and it's a good thing. So thanks for that, Stuart. I think it takes a while to set all that up, and there's quite an expense. So I would say if we defer this until next year, I think that's the time to choose. Then we can plan to choose another auditor, because we've done it at the Financial Corp as well, and it was wonderful having fresh eyes on your books. So I agree with Stuart. I think let's just defer till next year, go with Manning Elliott, and then we can plan for new auditors.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anyone online? No. Okay. We will look for unanimous consent on this. Any opposition to appointing Manning Elliott Chartered Accountants as the auditors for the coming fiscal? I see none online. No. Wonderful. The motion carries. I get the pleasure of letting you go. So we will close up for the day today. Tomorrow morning we will be starting right at 9 a.m. So please make sure that you come and find your seats for 9 a.m. I believe there is a reception tonight at 7. So come check that out. 6 o'clock. Just kidding.
Please return your voting machines because they need to get charged overnight. Like otherwise they won't work tomorrow. Please return your voting machine things, and you'll get them. You can pick them up again tomorrow.
Thank you. Pardon me?